The first time I saw my roommate changing, I was holding a dripping plunger in one hand and a bowl of microwaved chili in the other. So, no, it wasn't exactly the opening scene of a romance movie. It was a Tuesday night in our apartment in Portland, rain hammering the windows hard enough to make the glass tremble, and I had been minding my own business like a decent human being. I'm Grant Miller, 32, a web designer with a bad habit of working too late and pretending takeout counted as a food group. My roommate Harper Ellis was 29, a museum event coordinator, and the kind of woman who could make silence feel intentional. She had this way of pinning her hair up with a pencil when she was thinking, like she'd stepped out of a black and white movie and accidentally landed in a rent-controlled two-bedroom with unreliable plumbing. We had been living together for 8 months. 8 very carefully behaved months. We had rules, separate shelves, separate laundry days, no weird comments, no late-night hovering in the kitchen when one of us was in pajamas. We were polite, friendly, functional, which was another way of saying I had spent 8 months pretending I didn't notice the way Harper laughed when she was tired, or how she danced in socks while making coffee, or how my apartment started feeling less like a place I slept and more like somewhere I wanted to come home to. I'd been careful for a reason. 2 years earlier, I had dated someone I worked with, ignored every small warning sign, then watched the breakup turn my office into a courtroom where everyone had an opinion. Since then, I had lived by one rule: don't make romance out of proximity, especially not with someone who could hear you sneeze through the wall. That night, the toilet in the guest bathroom decided to stage a rebellion. I knocked on Harper's door because the plunger was in her bathroom, and I was pretty sure she'd said earlier that she was going out. No answer. I knocked again. Harper? Still nothing, except the rain and the faint sound of music from inside her room. The bathroom door between her bedroom and the hallway was cracked open. I saw the plunger standing right there beside the sink, like an idiot flag of temptation. I told myself, grab it. Don't look left. Don't be creepy. I pushed the bathroom door open with my elbow, stepped in, grabbed the plunger, turned, and froze. Harper was standing in front of her mirror, half inside a dark green dress, bare shoulders glowing in the warm lamplight, her hair loose down her back. The zipper was stuck halfway up, and she had one arm twisted behind her like she'd been fighting the fabric for 10 minutes and losing with dignity. For one full second, neither of us moved. Then she met my eyes in the mirror. I spun around so fast chili sloshed over the rim of the bowl and onto my wrist. God, Harper, I'm sorry, I knocked. I thought you were out. The bathroom, plunger. There was a toilet situation. Not that the toilet is an excuse for Grant. I'm facing the wall. I can see that. I'm going to leave now. With my plunger? I looked down, still holding it. And chili, she added. I brought all the elegance. Behind me, she made a sound that was almost a laugh, but not quite. Relax, I'm not calling the police. That's generous. You did look terrified enough to count as punishment. I am terrified. I have a strong respect for roommate boundaries and women with access to steak knives. This time she did laugh. It changed the room more than it should have. Grant, she said, softer now. Since you're already standing there like a Victorian ghost, can you help me? I kept staring at a framed print of Mount Hood on the bathroom wall. Help you with what? The zipper. That was where a smarter man would have said no. A man with better self-preservation would have put the plunger down, walked backward into the hallway, and scheduled an emergency meeting with his common sense. Instead, I said, "Are you sure?" "Yes, unless you want me to attend this dinner wearing a dress that looks like it gave up during construction." I turned slowly, eyes trained like a monk on the top of her head. She rolled her eyes in the mirror. "Grant, I trust you." 4 words, that was all. I stepped closer. There are distances you cross in life that don't look like much from the outside. 3 feet on an apartment floor, one careful breath, your fingers touching the small metal tab at the middle of someone's back. But I felt every inch of it. Harper held her hair over one shoulder. The dress smelled faintly like cedar from her closet and something warmer that was just her. Her skin was close enough that I noticed the tiny beauty mark near her shoulder blade, and I had to focus on the zipper like it was a bomb wire. "It's caught on the lining," I said. "Can you fix it?" "I build websites for dentists. This is outside my certification." "Try anyway." I worked the fabric gently, trying not to brush her more than necessary, trying not to notice that she had gone very still, trying not to enjoy the quiet trust of her standing there and letting me help. The zipper slid up. "There," I said, voice rougher than I wanted. She looked at herself in the mirror, then at me. The green dress fit her like it had been waiting for her. "Wow," I said before I could stop myself. Her expression changed, not dramatically, just enough. "Wow?" she repeated. I cleared my throat. I mean, the zipper. Very successful zipper. Right. The dress is also objectively well engineered. Harper turned around, leaning back against the sink. "You're terrible at pretending not to compliment me." I wasn't pretending. That slipped out too easily. For a moment, the apartment seemed to hold its breath with us. Then her phone buzzed on the counter. She glanced at it, and whatever softness had been in her face dimmed. I saw the name before I meant to. Mom. Harper didn't answer. She just stared at the screen until it went dark. "You okay?" I asked. "Fine." I knew that word. Everybody knew that word. It meant absolutely not. She reached for her earrings, but one slipped from her fingers and bounced into the sink. "Perfect. Big dinner?" "My parents' 35th anniversary." She fished the earring out and dried it with a towel. "At a restaurant where the bread comes with its own resume." "Sounds serious." "It is. My whole family will be there." "That's good, right?" She looked up at me. That was when I noticed her eyes were shiny, not crying. Harper didn't seem like the kind of woman who cried easily. More like she had built an impressive dam and somebody had just put a crack in it. "My mother invited my ex," she said. The chili bowl suddenly felt stupid in my hand. "Your ex?" "Derek, family friend, successful, charming, horrible in ways that don't show up in photos." She smiled, but it had no warmth in it. Apparently he's grown a lot and wants to apologize. I didn't like the way she said apologize, like the word had teeth. "You don't have to go," I said. "I do. It's my parents' anniversary." "You don't have to talk to him?" "My family specializes in seating charts as emotional warfare." I set the chili down on the counter. "Harper." She looked at me again, and something in my chest tightened. This woman who could negotiate with florists, donors, caterers, and a broken espresso machine without blinking suddenly looked exhausted. Not helpless, never that. Just tired of being managed by people who thought her politeness was permission. Then she tilted her head, studying me. "What?" I asked. "You saw me changing." I apologized. "You touched my zipper." "With consent and fear." "You complimented me." "Accidentally but sincerely." Her mouth curved. Then she took one step closer. Not a big step. Just enough to make me notice the space between us had become a decision. "Then take responsibility," she said. My brain, which had been doing poorly all evening, gave up entirely. "I'm sorry?" Harper picked up her phone, opened a message thread, and turned the screen toward me. There was a text from her mother. "Can't wait to meet the man you're bringing. Derek will be there too. Let's keep everything pleasant." I stared at it, then at Harper. She lifted her chin, but her fingers tightened around the phone. "I may have told my mother I was seeing someone," she said. "Someone?" "Yes. And this someone is—" Her eyes held mine, steady and nervous and daring all at once. "You," she said. "Dinner is tomorrow night." "You told your mother you were dating me," I said. Harper winced. "Technically, I told her I was seeing someone." "And when she asked who?" "I panicked and chose the man currently holding a plunger. You were top of mind. That is the most romantic thing anyone has ever said to me." Her laugh came out quick and nervous. She set her phone on the counter and rubbed both hands over her face, careful not to smudge her makeup. "Forget it. I shouldn't have asked. It's weird." "It's definitely weird." "Thank you, Grant. But not impossible." Her hands lowered. I could have walked away. Should have, probably. Fake dating your roommate to fend off an ex at a family dinner sounded like a terrible idea invented by someone who hated peace. But Harper was looking at me like she expected me to be sensible. And I was so tired of being sensible around her. "Tomorrow night," I said. She blinked. "You'll do it?" I have conditions. Of course you do. One, we establish a backstory. We're roommates. That's the backstory. No, that's the opening argument for why your family will think we're lying. She considered that. Fair. Two, no letting me accidentally promise your grandmother I'll attend Christmas in matching pajamas. She prefers Easter brunch ambushes. Noted. Three, I hesitated. Harper's expression softened. Three? If at any point you want to leave, we leave. No explanations, no debate. The teasing left her face. Grant, I'm serious. This is your night, not theirs. She looked down at the tile between us, and for a second I thought I'd said too much. Then she reached out and touched my wrist. Just 2 fingers, light as breath, but it landed everywhere. Thank you, she said. I wanted to cover her hand with mine. I wanted to ask her why she had chosen me, really. I wanted to know whether any part of this felt as dangerously easy to her as it did to me. Instead, I nodded like an idiot and said, also, I need to fix the toilet. That broke the moment, but not badly. Her smile came back, smaller and warmer. Go be brave, boyfriend. The word hit me straight in the ribs. Fake, I reminded myself. Temporary. An emergency roll with a 24-hour expiration date. Still, when I went to battle the guest bathroom plumbing, I was smiling. The next evening, Harper insisted we rehearse. I came out of my room in a navy jacket I hadn't worn since a client's wedding and found her in the kitchen lining up questions on index cards. You made flashcards, I said. I coordinate events for a living. I don't enter hostile territory without a run sheet. You know this is dinner, not a bank heist. My Aunt Linda once made my cousin's boyfriend cry over dessert. I sat at the table. Hit me. Harper lifted the first card. How long have you two been together? 6 weeks. Too short. My mother will ask why I didn't mention it earlier. 3 months. Better. Where was our first date? I looked at her over the rim of my coffee mug. We never had one. Grant. What? We're lying. Let's make it plausible. We need details. Fine. First date was at that Thai place on Belmont. She made a face. I hate that place. I know. You know? You ordered from there once and spent the whole meal insulting the noodles like they had personally betrayed you. Her pen paused above the card. What? I asked. You remembered that? I shrugged, suddenly too aware of myself. You were passionate. She studied me for a moment, something unreadable in her eyes. Then she wrote, Not Thai. Try again. Powell's, I said. We got coffee, wandered around, argued over whether cookbooks count as aspirational fiction. Her mouth curved. That sounds like us. Then it's our first date. It also sounds suspiciously like something you'd enjoy. I'm committing to the role. She tapped the next card against her lips. First kiss? The kitchen changed temperature. I leaned back in my chair. Do we need one? My cousin Rena will ask. She has no boundaries and excellent lipstick. Tell her it was private. That will make her worse. I looked at Harper. She looked at me. Her hair was down tonight, tucked behind one ear, and she wore a black dress this time, simpler than the green one, but somehow more devastating. She had one knee drawn onto the chair, barefoot resting on the seat, like we weren't discussing weaponized intimacy under fluorescent kitchen lights. Hallway, I said. Her voice dropped. What? Our first kiss. Hallway outside the apartment. You forgot your keys. I opened the door. You were annoyed. I was smug. I'm never annoyed. You're annoyed right now. Continue. You said something sarcastic. I said something charming. Unlikely. And then I stopped. Harper's smile faded into something softer. And then? She asked. The sensible answer was, we can improvise. The honest answer was standing too close to the edge. And then I kissed you, I said quietly, because I'd wanted to for a while. The room went still. It was acting. It was supposed to be acting, a fake memory built out of nothing. Except Harper's fingers tightened around the index card and my heart was being wildly unprofessional. She looked away first. That's good? Convincing. Very. We didn't say anything for a few beats. Then she slid off the chair. We should practice. My pulse stumbled. Practice what? She gave me a look that was half challenge, half nerves. Couple behavior. We can't walk in there looking like two people who label their oat milk. We do label our oat milk. Yours has vanilla in it. Exactly, stand up. I stood. She came closer and took my hand. Simple, terrible, perfect. Her hand was cool, her fingers fitting between mine with a naturalness that made me briefly angry at the universe. How dare something fake feel like recognition? Too stiff, she said. I'm not stiff. You're holding my hand like it's a legal document. I adjusted my grip, thumb resting over hers. Her breath caught. Barely, but I heard it. Better? I asked. She nodded. Then she stepped into my space and placed my hand at the small of her back. I forgot every word I'd ever learned. For dinner, she said, not quite looking at me. If Derek tries to do that thing where he stands too close, you can be there. I'm not going to paw at you for strategy. Her eyes lifted to mine. I know. That's why I asked you. There it was again. Trust. It was becoming a problem. I let my palm settle gently against her back. Like this? Yes. And if you need me to stop, I'll say red light. Okay. She smiled faintly. You really are annoyingly decent. Don't spread that around. I have a reputation as a mysterious plunger thief. Her laugh warmed against my chest because she was that close. Close enough that one more inch would make this something else entirely. For a second, neither of us moved away. Then Harper whispered, Grant? Yeah? Why did you say yes? I could have made a joke. I didn't. Because you asked me, I said. And because I don't like the idea of you walking into that room feeling alone. Her eyes searched mine. That's not fake boyfriend talk, she said. No. Her thumb brushed mine. Dangerous answer, she whispered. Yeah. The doorbell app chimed on her phone, startling us apart. Harper checked the screen. Car's here. The spell didn't break so much as fold itself carefully and slip into my pocket. At the restaurant, everything gleamed. Brass lights, white tablecloths, a hostess who looked like she judged people by their shoes. Harper paused outside the private dining room. Through the glass, I saw a long table full of laughing people. Silver hair, dark suits, jewel-toned dresses. And at the far end, a man in a charcoal blazer turned as if he'd been waiting for the doorway to frame her. Derek, I guessed. Handsome in a way that looked rehearsed. Harper's fingers went cold in mine. I leaned closer, not for him. For her. Red light? I murmured. She took one breath, then another. No, she said. Then she looked up at me, and to my surprise, the fear in her eyes had company now. A spark. A dare. Boyfriend, she whispered. Yes? Try to keep up. And before I could answer, Harper rose onto her toes and kissed my cheek, soft, warm, dangerously near the corner of my mouth. Then she walked into the room holding my hand like she'd chosen me. Harper's family looked at us like we were a dessert arriving on fire. Every head turned. Her mother, Celeste Ellis, stood first. She was elegant in a cream silk blouse with the kind of posture that made chairs seem optional. Harper, she said, smiling too brightly. Darling. Mom. Harper squeezed my hand once. This is Grant. I stepped forward. Mrs. Ellis, happy anniversary. Celeste's eyes moved over me with museum-level assessment. How thoughtful and how sudden. Harper's nails pressed into my palm. I smiled. Only sudden to everyone who wasn't paying attention. Harper coughed. Or laughed. Hard to tell. Across the table, Derek watched us with a polite expression that had no warmth in it. Handsome, yes. Expensive haircut, smooth jaw, confident smile. He looked like the sort of man who apologized by explaining why you had misunderstood him. Harper's father, Martin, rescued us by getting up and clapping me on the shoulder. Grant, good to meet you. Sit, we're just starting. The only empty seats were naturally beside Derek. Harper's hand tightened again. I leaned down, my mouth near her ear. I can fake a sudden allergy to rich people. Her shoulder shook. Behave. Never promise that. She looked up at me, and for a second the room softened around her smile. We sat. Derek immediately offered Harper the wine list. You always liked the Pinot here. Harper didn't take it. I'm having sparkling water. Really? His brows lifted. That's new. She contains multitudes, I said. Harper turned her face toward her glass, but not before I caught her smile. Derek's gaze slid to me. And you are? Grant Miller. Yes, Harper mentioned. His smile sharpened. Roommate, right? There it was. The table quieted by one noticeable degree. Among other things, Harper said. The words were calm, but I felt the tremor in her hand under the table. I laced my fingers through hers. Not possessive, not performative. A choice. Her thumb moved over my knuckle in answer. Rena, the cousin with the promised lipstick, leaned forward from across the table. So, how did this happen? Because Harper told us nothing, which means it's either serious or entertaining. Both, Harper said. I looked at her. You think I'm entertaining? Occasionally, when supervised. I'm wounded. You'll survive. Rena made a delighted sound. Oh, I like this. Celeste did not look as delighted. How long has this been going on? 3 months, Harper said. 3, Derek repeated softly. Interesting. Harper's smile held, but her fingers went still. I lifted her hand and kissed the back of it. I hadn't planned to. The second my mouth touched her skin, I knew it had been a mistake. Because the room saw a gesture. I felt her pulse. Harper looked at me, startled. Then something gentle and unguarded passed through her face so quick I might have missed it if I hadn't already been watching her too closely. 3 months, I said, though I liked her before that. Rena slapped the table. Details. Rena, Celeste warned. No, absolutely not. Details. Harper arched a brow at me. Yes, Grant, details. Challenge accepted. She labels her leftovers with threats. I live with a thief. One time, I said, and the soup was emotionally abandoned. It had my name on it. It said H.E. That could mean help everyone. Rena laughed. Martin grinned. Even Harper's Aunt Linda looked charmed despite clearly preparing to interrogate my credit score. Harper's face had gone pink. I wanted absurdly to keep doing that, to keep making her forget Derek was beside her, to keep earning that color. And, Rena pressed. I looked at Harper. And she talks to plants when she thinks nobody can hear. Her mouth parted. Traitor! You encouraged the basil. It was struggling. You told it you believed in its journey. Martin chuckled into his wine. Harper leaned closer, eyes narrowed with playful menace. Careful, boyfriend. The word should have felt like theater. Instead, it sank into me. Dinner unfolded around us in courses I couldn't pronounce and questions I mostly dodged. Harper's family was nosy, but not cruel. Her father asked about my work. Rena demanded to know whether I snored. Aunt Linda wanted to know if my parents were still married, then seemed disappointed when the answer lacked scandal. Harper relaxed by degrees. Her knee brushed mine under the table once, then stayed there. I didn't move away. Halfway through the meal, Derek set down his fork. It's funny, Harper used to say dating someone she lived with was a terrible idea. Harper's shoulders tensed. I glanced at her. She could handle herself, I knew that. But she was tired. So I answered lightly, she still says that. Derek blinked. She also says men who leave mugs in the sink after coffee should face legal consequences, I continued. I'm working on myself. Harper laughed before she could stop it. Derek's jaw tightened. Celeste watched us, expression unreadable. And what changed your mind, Harper? The question landed softer than Derek's, but cut deeper. Harper looked down at our joined hands. I thought she might give the safe answer. Convenience, timing. It just happened. Instead, she said, he made the apartment feel safe. My chest tightened. She lifted her eyes to mine. Not boring safe, not small safe. Just easy to breathe. The table blurred a little. There were a dozen people around us, waiters moving in and out, silverware chiming, Derek watching. But Harper was looking only at me. And I didn't realize how badly I needed that, she finished. No one spoke for a second. I forgot we were pretending. I forgot the backstory and the flashcards and every boundary I'd built out of old mistakes. All I could do was lean close and say, low enough for only her, "You do that for me, too." Her breath caught. This time I definitely heard it. Dessert arrived after that, and with it, a temporary mercy. Celeste cried during Martin's toast. Martin cried because Celeste cried. Rena took pictures of everyone, including one where Harper and I were caught laughing at the same moment, heads tilted toward each other like magnets. Then Derek stood. "Harper," he said, "could we talk privately?" The room went quiet again. Harper's hand tightened in mine, but she didn't look scared now. She looked annoyed. "No," she said. Derek's smile twitched. "I think I deserve 5 minutes." Harper lifted her chin. "That's exactly the problem. You always think you deserve things from me." Aunt Linda inhaled sharply. Celeste whispered, "Harper." But Harper didn't shrink. She didn't stand. She didn't explain. She simply kept holding my hand. Derek's face hardened for one ugly second before the smoothness returned. "I see." "I hope you do," Harper said. He sat down. The evening did not explode. It chilled briefly, then Rena loudly asked me if I had any embarrassing childhood photos and somehow dragged the table back to life. But under the table, Harper's hand was shaking. I rubbed my thumb over her knuckles. Not to rescue her. To tell her I was there. After goodbyes, after Celeste kissed Harper's cheek with complicated silence, after Martin told me to come by for a barbecue sometime, we stepped out into the wet Portland night. Harper exhaled like she'd been holding her breath for years. "You were incredible," I said. She turned to me under the restaurant awning. "You were very committed. I'm a professional fake boyfriend. 5-star service, excellent basal references." My hand kissing was improvised. I noticed. Rain tapped the canvas above us. Her face was soft in the streetlight, makeup a little faded, eyes bright. "Grant," she said. "Yeah? That thing you said inside." Her voice lowered. "About me making it easy to breathe. Was that for them?" "No." She stepped closer. I should have stepped back. I didn't. Her fingers rose to my lapel, not gripping, just resting there like she needed to know I was real. "Good?" Then she kissed me. Not my cheek this time. My mouth. Soft at first, almost questioning. I answered before my thoughts caught up, one hand settling carefully at her waist. She made a small sound against me, and the kiss deepened just enough to ruin every fake thing about the night. When she pulled back, we were both breathing differently. Harper touched her lower lip, looking dazed and brave. "That," she whispered, "wasn't on the flashcards." "No," I said. "It wasn't." Her phone buzzed. Neither of us looked at it. For once, the world could wait. We rode home in a silence so charged the rideshare driver kept glancing at us in the mirror like he was watching a nature documentary. Harper sat beside me, close but not touching. That somehow made it worse. Her knee was 2 inches from mine. Her hand rested on the seat between us. I could still feel her mouth. I could still hear the small sound she'd made when I kissed her back. "Fake boyfriend," my brain said weakly. "Real kiss," the rest of me answered. When we reached the apartment, Harper unlocked the door, stepped inside, and immediately turned to face me. "We should talk," she said. "Yes." Neither of us moved. Rain ticked against the window. The living room lamp had been left on, casting everything in soft gold. Her shoes were in one hand now, her hair slightly mussed from the damp air. She looked less like the composed woman from the restaurant and more like the Harper I knew at midnight. Tired, sharp, lovely, human. "I'm gonna say something," she said. "Okay. If you make a joke, I may throw one of these heels at you." I respect that. Her mouth twitched, but she didn't smile fully. "I kissed you because I wanted to. Not because Derek was there. Not because my family was watching. Not because of the lie." My heart kicked hard. "Harper, wait. Let me finish before I lose my nerve." She set the shoes down with unnecessary care. "I know this is complicated. We live together. We made rules. You have your whole no romance from proximity thing, which, by the way, sounds like a pamphlet written by a frightened monk. Despite everything, I laughed. She pointed at me. That was not the main point. Sorry. But I don't want to pretend that kiss didn't happen. Her voice softened. And I don't want you to be kind to me tomorrow by acting like it was a mistake. There it was. The thing I'd been afraid of since the restaurant awning. Not that she wanted me, that she might think I didn't want her back. I crossed the room slowly, giving her every chance to move away. She didn't. I've wanted to kiss you for months, I said. Her face changed completely. All that practiced bravery cracked open into surprise, hope, a little fear. Months? She repeated. Yes. Plural months? Embarrassing number of months. How embarrassing. I once spent 20 minutes in the cereal aisle because you texted me, get whatever you like. And I realized I wanted to know what cereal you liked. Harper stared at me. Then she laughed, but it came out unsteady. That is deeply concerning. I bought 3 boxes. I know, we had cereal for 2 weeks. You noticed? I notice you, Grant. That undid me. Not dramatically. Quietly, like a lock turning. I reached for her hand. I'm scared of messing this up. Me too. We share walls. And oat milk. If this goes wrong, then we will be awkward adults with a sublet problem. She squeezed my fingers. But if this goes right? I looked at her. She stepped closer until our joined hands rested between us. If this goes right, she whispered, I don't want to miss it because we were both being careful. I had no defense against that, so I kissed her. This one wasn't a surprise. It wasn't borrowed from a fake story or hidden under an awning. It was deliberate. Her free hand slid to my shoulder and mine found her waist, and the apartment that had held 8 months of restraint seemed to exhale around us. She kissed like she argued, focused, honest, with a little edge of challenge. When I pulled back, she followed me half an inch, then opened her eyes as if annoyed I'd stopped. Hi, I said. Terrible line. I'm out of practice. I can tell. You're cruel. You like it. I did. God help me, I did. We ended up on the couch, not because anyone planned it, but because standing upright while admitting feelings was apparently too advanced. Harper tucked her feet under her, and I sat angled toward her, our knees touching. The kiss had changed the room, but not into something simple. Something better. Something honest. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. We both glanced at it this time. Celeste. Harper sighed and picked it up. Her mother's message was short enough that I read it by accident. Derek left upset. I hope you know what you're doing. Harper's jaw tightened. I waited for her to shrink back into damage control. Instead, she set the phone face down. I'm not answering tonight. Good. She looked at me. You don't have to keep playing boyfriend now. The dinner's over. I'm aware. So if you want to step back, I don't. Her eyes searched mine. I forced myself to say the clear thing, the adult thing, the thing neither of us could misinterpret tomorrow. I want to take you on a real date. Her lips parted. A real one? She asked. No flashcards, no audience, no ex-boyfriends lurking near dessert. Ambitious. Powell's, I said. Coffee. Cookbooks as aspirational fiction. Will make the lie true. Her smile came slowly and it was devastating. When? Tomorrow. I have work. After. I might be tired. I'll buy you coffee. I may judge your book choices. I'm counting on it. She leaned toward me, her shoulder brushing mine. Okay. One word. A real relationship step, quiet and enormous. I couldn't stop smiling. What? She asked. Nothing. You look smug. I have a date with my roommate. Scandalous. I plan to tell the Basil. She laughed and rested her head against my shoulder. That small weight nearly ruined me more than the kiss. For a while, we just sat there. No performance, no explanations. Her hair tickled my jaw. My hand rested palm up on the couch, and after a minute, she placed hers in it. I hated that he was there, she said quietly. Derek. I didn't tense this time. I listened. I hated that everyone watched to see whether I'd be polite. Like politeness is proof you've healed. She swallowed. But when you kissed my hand, I didn't feel rescued. I felt chosen. I turned my head slightly, brushing my lips against her hair. You were, I said. Her fingers tightened around mine. The next day moved like a secret. We were both terrible at pretending things were normal. Harper burned her toast because she was watching me make coffee. I forgot the word spoon and called it the small shovel. She wore a blue sweater to work and asked if it was date appropriate, then immediately blushed like she regretted it. It's dangerously appropriate, I told her. She pointed her toast at me. Don't be charming before 8. It's suspicious. By 6:30, I was waiting outside Powell's in the cold with 2 coffees and the absurd nerves of a teenager. Harper arrived 5 minutes late, breathless, cheeks pink from the wind. Sorry, she said. A donor wanted to discuss centerpiece height for 45 minutes. Tragic. I almost had to date this latte. Did it laugh at your jokes? No. Then it's not your type. We wandered inside, shoulder to shoulder, warm air and paper smell wrapping around us. In the cookbook aisle, Harper pulled down an enormous French pastry book. This, she declared, is absolutely fiction. You don't think you'll make a 12-layer opera cake? I once ruined instant pudding. I'd still eat it. She looked over at me, smile turning soft. That is either romantic or medically alarming. Both can be true. Between travel essays and poetry, she reached for my hand first. It wasn't dramatic. No one applauded. No family watched. That made it feel more real. Later, in a quiet corner near the windows, she showed me a photography book of old Portland theaters. We stood close enough that her shoulder pressed into my chest as I looked over her. Without thinking, I rested my chin lightly near her temple. She went still. Red light? I murmured. No, she said. Green. So I stayed. And for 3 pages, maybe 4, we let ourselves be exactly what we were becoming. Then her phone buzzed again. Harper looked. Her face drained. This time the message wasn't from her mother, it was from Derek. We need to talk. I know your little relationship is fake. And I can prove it. Harper stared at the message until the screen dimmed. I felt her go still against me, the warmth of our date-like little corner suddenly invaded by a man who wasn't even there. We need to talk. I know your little relationship is fake, and I can prove it. For one old, stupid second, I wanted to take the phone and handle it. Then I looked at Harper. Not fragile, not helpless, angry. What do you want to do? I asked. Her eyes flicked to mine. You're not going to tell me to ignore him? I can suggest tossing the phone into the Willamette, but it seems impractical. That earned half a laugh. She looked back at the message. He wants me rattled. That's his favorite version of me. Is it working? She took a breath. Then she put the phone in her coat pocket. No, I smiled. Good. But I do need to tell my mother the truth. My stomach dipped. Harper noticed. Of course she did. She always noticed me. Not that truth, she said softly. I held her gaze. She stepped closer right there in the poetry aisle and took both coffees from my hands to set them on a display table. Then she wrapped her fingers around mine. I mean the truth that I lied at first, she said, and the bigger truth that somewhere along the way, I stopped lying. Everything in me quieted. Harper, I don't want Derek holding fake over my head like it matters more than real. Her thumb brushed my knuckle. Last night may have started as pretend, but this? She squeezed my hand. This is not. I should have said something smooth, something worthy. Instead, I said, I'm really glad I stole your plunger. She laughed, full and bright, and leaned her forehead against my chest. I wrapped my arms around her in the middle of Powell's while strangers moved around us, and it felt less like a dramatic confession than a door opening. We left the store with one photography book, one cookbook Harper insisted was aspirational comedy, and a plan. The plan lasted until we got home. Celeste was waiting in the lobby. Harper stopped so abruptly I nearly walked into her. Her mother rose from the little gray couch near the mailboxes, coat folded over one arm, face composed in that careful way that meant she had been practicing. Harper, she said. Grant, Harper's hand found mine. This time, she didn't need to squeeze hard. Mom, she said, if Derek called you, he did. Of course he did. Celeste's gaze dropped to our joined hands, then lifted again. He said you invented the relationship to humiliate him. Harper's mouth tightened. Of course he said that. And did you? The lobby hummed with fluorescent lights. Someone's dryer thumped faintly through the wall. Harper looked at me. I nodded once, not because she needed permission, but because she deserved certainty. She turned back to her mother. I lied when I said Grant and I had been dating for 3 months. Celeste closed her eyes briefly. But I didn't do it to humiliate Derek, Harper continued. I did it because you invited a man who hurt me to a family dinner and expected me to be pleasant about it. Celeste flinched. Harper's voice shook, but it didn't break. And Grant came because I asked. Because he's kind. Because he listens. Because he makes me laugh when I'm scared. She glanced at me, and the softness in her eyes nearly took me out at the knees. And because apparently we are both very bad at pretending not to want each other. I cleared my throat. Historically terrible. Harper's lips twitched. Celeste looked between us. Something in her posture changed. Not surrender. Something harder for proud people. Regret. I thought, she said slowly, if you and Derek spoke, maybe it would make things easier. For who? Harper asked. Celeste had no answer. That was answer enough. After a long silence, Celeste nodded. I'm sorry. Harper inhaled sharply like she hadn't expected the words to land. I should have asked you, Celeste said. I should have believed what you'd already shown me. Harper blinked fast. I loosened my hand in case she wanted privacy. She held on tighter. Celeste noticed that too. A small, sad smile touched her mouth. For what it's worth, Derek didn't prove anything except that he still thinks your life is his business. Harper let out a breath that almost became a laugh. He's wrong, Celeste added. Yes, Harper said, he is. Her mother stepped forward and hugged her. Harper stiffened at first, then softened. I stood there with the cookbook under one arm, pretending not to be emotionally destroyed beside the mailboxes. When Celeste left, the lobby felt different. Harper turned to me. That was not how I expected our first date to end. I don't know. We bought books, confronted family trauma, and established an antagonist's irrelevance. Pretty full evening. Antagonist's irrelevance? I'm workshopping. She smiled, then slid her arms around my neck. What are you doing? I asked. Taking responsibility. Then she kissed me. It was not cautious this time, not confused, not staged for anyone. It was Harper choosing me in our apartment lobby under bad lighting, with rainwater on her coat and a ridiculous pastry cookbook pressed between us. I kissed her back like I had been waiting 8 months and 2 days. Because I had. After that, we didn't become perfect. We became honest. We kept separate bedrooms for a while because rushing felt less romantic than choosing. We went on real dates, ramen in the rain, terrible mini-golf, Sunday mornings at the farmer's market where Harper bullied me into trying vegetables I couldn't pronounce. Derek sent one more message. Harper deleted it without reading. Then she blocked him and made pancakes. 3 months later, she stopped knocking before coming into my room on Saturday mornings, usually carrying coffee and wearing one of my sweatshirts like she had a legal claim to it. 6 months later, we gave up the second bedroom and turned it into an office with 2 desks, too many plants, and one thriving basil plant Harper insisted had always believed in us. A year after that night on her parents' anniversary, Celeste invited us to dinner again. This time, no Derek. This time, Harper wore the green dress. This time, I zipped it up slowly while she watched me in the mirror, smiling like she knew exactly what I was thinking. You know, she said, this all started because you accidentally saw me changing. I remember experiencing cardiac failure, yes? And then I told you to take responsibility. You were very intimidating. She turned, smoothing my tie with both hands. Best decision I ever made. I looked at her, the woman who had become my roommate, my fake girlfriend, my real date, my home, and felt the old fear of proximity turn into something gentler. Sometimes love doesn't arrive from a grand plan. Sometimes it's already there, making coffee in your kitchen, labeling oat milk, trusting you with the zipper. I kissed her before we left, one hand at the small of her back, and she smiled against my mouth like the whole story had been worth the awkward beginning. What would you have done if you accidentally saw your roommate changing and she told you to take responsibility? Have you ever had an awkward moment turn into something real? Tell me your story in the comments. If you like this one, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.